Hey guys, welcome back to Ash and Wallace Minis. My name is Ash, and today we're just going to get on with building the Kitty Hensley House replica in 1/48 scale, and completely giving up on the speed build part because it has been months. Technically, we're on day 4 or 5, somewhere around there. I have actually lost count, but we are putting up the rest of the walls, adding some details in the wrong order, and finally getting to the logs.
Anxious as always to get walls up, we're going to start with the kitchen extension today. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick dry fitting, just holding pieces in place, trying to remember which way is up and which pieces go where. And even if it's only 3 pieces, sometimes we need to adjust things. The little arrows I drew on the back that say this way up are also very helpful. You're going to see a lot of tacky glue and a lot of super glue in this video. It's amazing how much just 2 walls makes a room. There are definitely a few steps I probably should have done before putting the walls up, but we'll get to those in a little bit. And here's where we start ruining paintbrushes. I know that I need to smooth out the glue on the inside, but there was super glue there, and every single paintbrush that you see me do that with is now replaced. Sad days for paintbrushes, for sure. In any case, I have this area here that needs a little bit more glue, so I'm just gonna pipe it along the edge, squish things together until they hold, and clean up what I can. It'll all be good. Figuring out how to put a floor in here later is going to be an interesting adventure, but it'll all work out. In the meantime, let's add a second story. I'm doing this with only glue on the top of the stairs because I need that to be a strong connection point, and I don't want to smear glue all down these nicely painted walls. So I'm going to throw a weighted block right above the stairs so that things dry well, and then I'll take care of the sides by piping glue along the edges like you saw me do before. I love the shadows that are being thrown around in this room now. It is so much fun. Every wall I put up, every ceiling I add, it just makes things a little bit more magical, and it's fun. I'm gonna start putting together the front window bump out. So, you know, just some tacky glue, some super glue. Got really good at taking that cap off one-handed. I actually really like the Loctite super glue. Unfortunately, it did not last as long as I wanted it to. I don't know if it's because there wasn't a lot in the bottle, or if I just went a little nuts with the super glue, but it is what it is. And here I am ruining another paintbrush. My goodness. I just used some strips of paper that I folded and glued onto the corners for a little bit of extra support. And here comes the gloss super heavy medium to fill in the gaps. This stuff is freaking magical, let me tell you. And then this did get painted over as well. Jump to the floor being inserted. It's just coffee stir sticks like before, with a bit of paper glued on the bottom to hold everything together. Figured it would be a lot easier installing them into the bump out before the bump out gets installed to the house. And I was right. I think it worked out okay. And are you ready for the ridiculously tedious part of this project? Because I am. I'm going to attempt to use paper straws to make the log siding for this house, like so. I'm just going to split them down the middle using a fresh X-Acto blade, because a dull knife is a dangerous knife. Doing my best to keep my fingers out of the range of danger here. Scissors did end up working a lot better to split them later on. And these mitered corners were an adventure, let me tell you. Each piece had to be measured and remeasured and trimmed and rounded, and it was a thing. The stripes did help eyeball things a little bit. And ridiculous amounts of tacky glue are used here. And now for another step in the build that I should have done a long time ago, but I procrastinated because it's fiddly and not my favorite. I'm cutting out a bunch of strips of Bristol board here. Cardstock would do just fine, but I'm using what I have around me. And I finally got a metal straight edge, which is a huge help. But yeah, all of the doors and windows need trimmed out. I did some of them. I hadn't done all of them yet, and it's way harder to do it when the walls are standing up. It is what it is. I decided to be kind to myself when it came to the windows and cut out the molding as one piece that goes all the way around. I just placed the Bristol board behind the window, traced it with a pencil, and cut out like so. It would have been even easier if I had used the fresh X-Acto blade that I showed you previously. All of these are primed and then painted before installation, and then I used said dull X-Acto blade to just press in at the corners to make those mitered corner marks. And the window pieces get glued in like so. This was incredibly fiddly and not at all the right way to go about this, but I procrastinated and did other things, so this is what I'm left with. However, the results do work. I have all these little lips between the window molding and the cardboard that makes up the house itself. I'm going to fill that in with some clay, because otherwise you're going to be able to see the gaps through the windows and it's going to be incredibly unsightly. Just kneading the clay, getting out some of the excess moisture, and then packing it in and trying to get a nice, clean windowsill effect. It did work later on to roll little snakes and glue those in and flatten them out. And then I can start to figure out these dang windows. This is just cheap plastic that I got out of cheap frames. And while it usually works to just score and snap it, things don't always go according to plan. So, yeah, I'm just gonna keep scoring and snapping until I get appropriate sized pieces for my windows. These are gonna be a little bit oversized because I'm going to lay some of the logs on top of it to get a smooth finish. One of the windows I'm going to attempt a little bit of a stained glass effect. It's definitely not perfect, but Sharpie will do the trick to give a hint of what is going on in the real house. Then I can just glue the window pieces in like so. Having that overlap means that you're not going to see the cut edges of my windows. It should look a lot more streamlined. And then we just continue on with the siding. You should definitely use a sharp blade if you're going to do this. The struggle. I think I realized and switched to a much sharper blade after that. Thank goodness. Yeah, they just get glued on, overlapping the window bits a little bit. And then I think I'm going to use a little bit of clay to finish out some of the smaller fiddly areas. And this side that has the cutout just has one big piece across for the window. Just make things a little bit easier for me. Well, thanks for stopping in and following along with this installation of the not-so-speedy build. We'll get there eventually, but I really love how things are coming along. I will catch you guys next time.